I am not a fan of soccer. I never have been. In my less than humble opinion, the game suffers from two big problems that make it unpalatable to me. It too often represents the worst humanity has to offer, inciting the knuckle-dragging dregs of society to destruction and violence for little to no good reason, and it is also boring. If you want a more nuanced and balanced take on the matter, which isn't really what we do on this channel, I can say that in reality, destruction and violence have nothing to do with football and are instead the manifestations of antisocial attitudes cultivated by poverty and poor education. Sport naturally induces heightened states of adrenaline and a sense of tribalism, which can turn these antisocial attitudes into antisocial behaviours. So then, if these mechanisms can transform major metropolitan hubs into battlegrounds, what happens in areas where poverty and violence rates are much higher? Well, this story involves a referee killing a player before being dismembered by spectators. If that's not too gruesome for you, let's begin the tale. On the 30th of June 2013, 19-year-old Otávio Jordão da Silva Catanigi set out on his bike to play football in a remote neighbourhood in northeastern Brazil. In a lumpy field with wooden goalposts, he participated in a game of pick-up soccer. At some point during the game, however, Catanigi sustained a minor injury which impeded his ability to sprint. This saw him relegated to becoming the referee, a role in pickup soccer which is preferable only to being a goalpost. At some point during the game, Catanigi gave a yellow card to 30-year-old Josemir Santos Abreu. Despite being friends and often playing together, Abreu was enraged by Cantanigi's officiating. He argued with Catanigi, which led to him receiving a red card, but Abreu would not leave the field. Instead, he only got angrier, and as the two exchanged words, Abreu attacked Catanigi, sending him to the ground. When Catanigi got back to his feet, he had a knife in his hands. Abreu was stabbed numerous times. Players and spectators alike descended on the scene, restraining Catanigi and tying him up while a local man drove Abreu to hospital. Josemir Santos Abreu died of his injuries. The police were called but would not arrive for some time. During this time, Catanigi was at the mercy of the crowd, many of whom had been drinking. Among them, Abreu's friends. For about an hour, Catanigi was beaten. Then, he was killed. His lower legs were cut off and he was beheaded. The head was placed on a nearby post. It was the next morning before the regional police chief was informed of the killing. He drove 20 miles to the site, but it was too late. The suspects went into hiding and the deceased were buried. As the police investigation began, Cantanigi's autopsy was written up based on photos and videos taken by hospital workers. Police were only able to track down a couple of the suspects. To recap, a football referee stabbed a player to death during a game, then was killed, decapitated and dismembered by the spectators. 2 young men lost their lives over a game of football. Tragic. The worst part is, it's far from the first or last time. If you'd like a more uplifting story from Brazil concerning football, why not check out my video on Carlos Kaiser, the football star who never played a game. I have a few other videos about stories from Brazil too, as well as a whole host of videos about a wide range of other subjects. So if you'd enjoy seeing them as often as I make them, which is every week, please consider subscribing. Thank you.